Scientists have just discovered an unexplainable anomaly in ocean data. In the North Atlantic waters, the entire signal of killer whales, the planet's ultimate apex predator, suddenly disappeared from the monitoring radar. At first, scientists thought they had gone off course, but the reality was far more terrifying. Tracking data showed that these predators had not disappeared at all. They were swimming at maximum speed to leave their own territory. For the first time in observational history, the most perfect predatory creatures fell into a state of unexplainable panic. What could be powerful enough to make the top of the food chain so terrified? The answer is not a creature larger or more ferocious, but a true system intervention specialist of the ocean, one that has found a way to neutralize the opponent's nervous system. So, who is this hidden figure really? And what has turned it into the greatest threat to the ocean's killers? For decades, orca killer whales were considered the peak of the food chain. With superior intelligence, from great white sharks to blue whales, no species could control them. However, at ecological hotspots from Iceland to Australia, a new scenario is being rewritten. Hydroacoustic recording devices have captured shocking moments, exposing a truth few dare to believe. The one that changed this order and forced killer whales to leave is not anyone unfamiliar, it is the pilot whale. As soon as the shadow of a pilot whale pod appears, orcas immediately stop all hunting activity. Actual data shows that in 10 encounters in the North Atlantic waters, orcas actively withdrew 9 times in panic and absolute silence. Many people think orcas are cowardly, but others believe this is the intelligent choice of an experienced predator when facing a reckless army. In your opinion, is the orca's escape a sign of cowardice or a peak survival tactic? Leave your opinion, because this debate is still fiercely dividing marine biologists into two sides. In reality, researchers at the University of St Andrews in Scotland have pointed out one core difference: social structure. While orcas hunt in small family groups of 5 to 10 individuals, pilot whales, globicephala, move in superpods that can reach hundreds of individuals. This numerical dominance creates an absolute psychological advantage. Orcas are tactical predators, and they prioritize safety extremely highly. For orcas, a serious injury means a decline in the ability to maintain life. In contrast, pilot whales display a powerful collective protection reflex, willing to charge in to protect their own kind regardless of risk. But the truth is even more impressive than that. Killer whales do not leave, only because they fear physical impact. What truly makes them cautious lies in a far more sophisticated ability: intrusion into the opponent's information transmission system. A deeper investigation into the communication system of pilot whales has revealed a shocking ability. They are sound mimicking specialists. The most updated studies indicate that pilot whales can accurately copy the sound frequencies and pod calls of orcas. Spectral sound analysis from DTAG recording devices attached to whalebacks shows an astonishing truth. Pilot whales can receive orca echolocation signals from a distance of dozens of miles. Instead of staying silent to hide, they respond with the very frequency bands that orcas use to coordinate combat. This is exactly the e-jamming electronic interference technique in the military, but performed biologically. Why is this a weapon that neutralizes the opponent? Orcas rely on sound to form battle lines and coordinate attacks. When pilot whales mimic these sounds, they create a matrix of disorder. The orca pod becomes disoriented, unable to distinguish which signals come from teammates and which calls are fake. Statistics from hydroacoustic studies in Norway show that the noise level created by a pod of pilot whales can reach 180 decibels, equivalent to standing beside a jet engine during takeoff. This intensity is enough to overload the orca's sound reception organs, causing them to temporarily lose their ability to locate themselves in the underwater space. More than that, pilot whales use the tactic of mobbing, collective overwhelming. When the biological radar is paralyzed, they surround the orcas with a large number of individuals, creating terrifying sound pressure that overloads the navigation system. Imagine trying to concentrate in a room with hundreds of high-intensity sound sources all playing alarm signals at once. That is exactly what orcas feel. If you think pilot whales only know how to use technique, you are wrong. The newly reinforced biological data will reveal a formidable physical power. Pilot whales are called by scientists the cheetahs of the deep, the cheetahs of the abyss. While orcas often prioritize hunting in shallow water layers to save energy, pilot whales are true deep-diving athletes. They are capable of plunging down to depths of up to 1,800 meters in just a few minutes to hunt giant squid. Studies on marine animal physiology have confirmed that the muscle structure of pilot whales contains an extremely high concentration of myoglobin, allowing oxygen storage to be 30% more efficient than in other whale species. This mechanism helps them maintain continuous movement performance in high-pressure and oxygen-deficient environments, something the orca's respiratory system is not designed to adapt to long-term. The decisive difference lies in pressure tolerance at extreme water layers. Pilot whales possess a flexible ribcage structure, minimizing the risk of injury when changing depth suddenly at an acceleration speed of 32 kilometers per hour. This becomes a tactical advantage, turning deep water into a fortified defensive zone, blocking the intrusion of predators from the surface layer. When a confrontation occurs, pilot whales often try to pull orcas down into deeper water layers. This is an extremely dangerous zone. Orcas are not designed to fight for long at that pressure. Here, the species that once dominated the ocean becomes slow and vulnerable to high-intensity impacts from the sturdy melon section of pilot whales. Hydrodynamic simulation results indicate that a head-on collision from a pilot whale at maximum speed creates an impact force equivalent to a medium-sized motor vehicle. For orcas, impacts concentrated on the belly area or soft organs can cause serious internal injuries, immediately removing their ability to move. This hostility does not come only from food disputes. In archival records from recent years, scientists in Iceland recorded a shocking scene: an adult female killer whale nursing a newborn pilot whale. This shocking event was confirmed for the first time in 2021 and established a new precedent in the study of ocean behavior. The female orca, named Sadie's by researchers, was seen swimming with a young pilot whale instead of a calf of her own species. What is worth noting is that Sadie's showed no signs of having just given birth, meaning she had actively adopted or taken control of this individual. This is not a random act of support. This orca left her own pod and kept the young whale beside her in a complete mother-child pattern. But the truth behind it is more complicated. This may be a deliberate cross-species individual separation case. Why would a predator care for the offspring of an opponent? There are two most controversial theories today. One is a misdirected maternal instinct. Sadie's may have lost her calf, and the need to care caused her to take in a young one from another species. Two is long-term behavioral pressure. Some bold researchers suggest this is the way orcas learn about their opponents from the inside, or conversely, proof that pilot whales have applied pressure to the point of changing the behavioral structure of orcas. Actual observations show that interspecies connections are becoming more complex in the context of migration. The fact that Sadis accepted integration into the movement flow of the pilot whale superpod shows a shift in biological power, where the community rules of the majority have replaced the individual hunting instinct. In areas such as the Strait of Gibraltar, the behavior of pushing opponents away from tuna hunting grounds shows a calculated systemic competition. These interactions are remembered and transmitted across generations through social learning. This is proof of a confrontation of intelligence and survival culture beneath the ocean. In the natural world, it is extremely rare for an apex predator to accept abandoning its own lineage to follow another species. It proves that pilot whales possess a psychological power that we still cannot fully decode. Although they can make orcas retreat, pilot whales carry a biological vulnerability that comes from their very strength, absolute loyalty. The social system of pilot whales is built on an extreme matrilineal structure. Unlike many other animal species where males leave the group when they mature, pilot whales stay with their mothers for life. This bond is so powerful that it becomes their core weakness. This inseparable social bond is the very reason behind the most serious mass stranding events in history. If the leader becomes disoriented because of magnetism or illness and rushes toward shore, hundreds of others will follow without a second of hesitation. A typical example is the incident at Farewell Spit in 2017, when more than 400 pilot whales rushed onto the shore. Even when humans intervene to rescue them, the instinct to maintain pod connection still causes healthy individuals to return to the dangerous area to respond to the signals of their own kind. This is an extreme biological mechanism, proving that excessive social bonding can lead to serious losses at the population level. In addition to natural risks, they also face impacts from traditional seafood harvesting activities in some areas such as the Faroe Islands. These activities directly affect the size of superpods, weakening the social structure they have built to maintain their position against other predators. Although facing fierce opposition from the international community, data shows that the number of affected individuals each year remains at an alarming level. The population decline caused by humans can weaken superpods, thereby breaking the balance they are maintaining to restrain orca dominance. From traditional hunts in the Faroe Islands to noise pollution from military submarines, humans are pushing this intelligent species into the worst possible scenarios. White noise pollution from oil and gas exploration activities and military sonar is a silent threat. In the modern ocean environment, acoustic interference pulses disrupt the pod's ability to coordinate combat, making them more vulnerable and disoriented. This reduces the effectiveness of defensive tactics and increases the frequency of unwanted stranding events. In addition, changes in ocean currents caused by climate change are shifting giant squid hunting grounds. This forces pilot whale pods to enter deeper into unfamiliar waters where competition with native orca pods becomes more intense than ever before. In reality, three rarely mentioned risks still exist: the depletion of giant squid resources due to overly dense superpod concentration, the risk of inbreeding due to extreme social grouping, and the breakdown of the deepwater food chain. When compared with fluctuations in damaged ecosystems such as the Great Barrier Reef or dead zones in the ocean, we can see that the powerful rise of one species may be a sign of an ecosystem being pushed to the brink, forced to change its entire energy axis to maintain life. The battle between killer whales and pilot whales has given us a valuable lesson about the balance of nature. No dominant position is eternal. Dominance can collapse because of just one sophisticated sound tactic or one unshakable team spirit. The rise of pilot whales in challenging the orca's position as king of the ocean is proof that nature always has unexpected regulatory mechanisms. This is not simply a story about two animal species, but an important indicator of systematic changes in the ecological structure of the blue planet that we are only beginning to understand. Pilot whales, with their ability to master the darkness at a depth of 1,800 meters and the power of absolute unity, are rewriting the definition of power beneath the sea. In the future, how much more will the underwater world order change as humans continue interfering with their habitat? It is time for us to reconsider our responsibility toward the ecological stability of the ocean. Decoding these sophisticated survival tactics is not only to satisfy curiosity, but is the key to preventing a biodiversity decline that is taking place silently yet fiercely in the heart of the ocean. The ocean still holds thousands of mysteries waiting to be decoded. What we see today is only a small part of the greatest power struggle beneath the deep sea. Thank you for accompanying us in this analysis file. If you find this knowledge valuable, please support us by pressing subscribe and turning on notifications so you do not miss the next ecological secrets. See you again in the next video.